Shalom to everyone and welcome. I'm here sharing a Zoom with the 10th president of the State of Israel, Mr. Reuven Rivlin. First of all, thank you so much for being here with us and with me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being with you. Blessing from Jerusalem to all the people all around the world.
And that's what we need. We need a blessing from Jerusalem, the center of the Jewish people. Approaching Yom Ha'atzmaut, the 78th birthday of Israel. We have a lot of reflection to do. We're coming into our 8th decade. You are, I would say, for us, the president of the people, always have been. I've quoted you as a president of WIZO in many countries and also in Australia as I was president, because you always managed to find this common ground with us. And I know that you love everyone. You're speaking about tribes, but you speak about it because we are one tribe that emerges from Yerushalayim. So, Mr. Reuven Rivlin, for the 78th year of Israel, we want to have an honest conversation here.
First of all, I must say that we are passing through really crucial days. And since the 7th of October, we have war with Iran and with the proxies, with the Lebanese Hezbollah and with the Hamas, the Anat freedom fighters. They want to get rid of Israel and to destroy Israel. After the Holocaust in 1945, the United Nations have framed a slogan saying never again. And people don't understand all over the world that never is now. What is happening just now, it is the never again. We know why it will not be again, because we are protecting ourselves, we are preparing to ourselves. We every time, also in crucial days, we are looking what will happen in the day after. We know that we have to develop our economy, to develop our agriculture, to show the world to be a startup nation. And really, when we talk about the day after till now, and I'm not saying that we are in a bad chapter of the history of Israel. I've been 30 years as member of Knesset. I've been minister of Israeli's governments. I've been the speaker of the Knesset, the president of the Knesset twice for two cadences, and I was lucky to be elected by the Knesset to become the president of Israel. I was born in 1939. I was an infant. I didn't know and I didn't realize that what is going on in Europe, what is going on with the Holocaust, that Israel must stand alone and to be ready, and that Israel could be a light to the whole world and to show the world how to behave if we will be a democracy. The pupil of Jabotinsky, when Jabotinsky wanted to consider what would be the name of the political party after the establishment of the Israeli state. And the people have said to him, let's say that it would be a national democratic state. He said, no, children. It would be a national liberal state, because democracy towards liberal is something different. Democracy, the rule is the rule of the majority, and the majority can do everything with the minority. And he said, no, in a liberal state, the majority have to know that although the people, the majority have chosen them to be the government, they have to take care about the minorities. And now we forget about it. Towards the whole world, as a symbol, what is going on, not in our region, not in the Middle East only, but all through Europe, to show how in difficult days, when we have to protect ourselves, they wanted to kick us out, not to allow Jews to become a nation. And that brought us to become really something that was understood by every one of that only by keeping democracy and liberal democracy, we will show the whole world, and all the world are looking and wondering. And I must say that I know that now, and I didn't understand very well, that the mutual guarantee between all Jews is the mutual guarantee that we have to hold. Because of that, when I talked about the tribes and I tried to warn the people of Israel about the tribes, I must say that I said that we have 5 tribes in Israel. One is not living yet or not living all the time in Israel, but this is his second or his first home, and that is Israel. And all the Jews all over the world are part of Israel.
I want to ask you something about the tribes. Now, we know that we're experiencing something very different now. When you spoke about the tribes, you spoke about a faith system, if you were Haredi or Chiloni or Dati or Aravi. And today we look that something has shifted, and I actually claim that Israel is acting like a bit of an adolescent, you know? The tribes are actually pluralized by their relationship to the controlling government. You're either pro, you're either against. Today, the ruling party of one population is the nightmare of the other one. And there are not that many differences today in political views. Most of us today are centralists. And we look at the 50s, 60s, there were real big gaps between Labor and the Likud. There were much bigger gaps on social issues, even on security issues. And today we're finding ourselves very minimum issues, pluralizing, but we're more pluralized than ever, and it's changed. So how do you perceive that?
My speech was a sort of a warning about what you are talking about. I tried to say, when the State of Israel was established, only 5% were minorities. 5% Arabs, 5% extreme Orthodox. We had a lot of discussion, a lot of debate, a lot of differences of opinion between right and left, but everyone knew the important thing in every one of us is the strength of the State of Israel, because we understood that we can debate inside Israel while keeping Israel as one. Unfortunately, we couldn't arrange and we couldn't get to really frame a constitution. And there was an excuse. Ben-Gurion at the time have said that the constitution without the exception of the minorities is impossible. And the Arabs said to us, okay, we are ready, that our country and our state, and we are part of our state, is Israel. But Israel should not be defined a Jewish state. If it's democracy, it should be the state of all its citizens. And we have said to them, no, you have to understand, never again is that the Jews have their own nation and their own country, and they return back after 2,000 years to their homeland. And because of that, we cannot accept their demand that Israel would be defined state of all its citizens. We said you would have full citizen rights. You would be equal to everyone. But the right of return would be kept only for Jews, because this is the only Jewish state and we have no other place to go to. And on the other hand, the extreme Orthodox have said, we are ready for democracy. But what do you mean by saying that it is a Jewish state? Is it a Jewish state according to the halakha, according to the regulation of Judaism as we interpret it? And that brought us not to get to the ability of framing a real constitution to the state of Israel. And now we are being led by a government. Almost 30 members of Knesset are people who are either extreme Orthodox, another of 15% are Israeli Arabs, that some of them already votes for Israeli parties. And there are Jews who are voting for Arab parties because it is Israeli parties, some of them. And that brought us to the situation that we are just now, that actually 18 members of Knesset from the extreme Orthodox people are holding the prime minister, and people who are the successor of Rabbi Kahana, that Menachem Begin has said at the time that if I have to be the prime minister of Israel and I need one vote from Rabbi Kahana, I give up their possibility, because Kahana is something which don't really go together with the idea of democracy and liberalism.
I know that you visited in a WIZO shelter, battered women's shelter in Jerusalem. And it did a lot of thinking with your late wife, may bless her soul, Nechama, and it was quite provoking for you. You understood few insights after that. Tell me what went through your mind at the time and what conclusions it got you to.
Nechama always tried to convince me that 52% of the citizens of Israel has something to say. And we are in Israel 52% women. So I really thought that the women member of Knesset would be elected to become part of the Knesset and part of the people who are taking decisions or making decisions. And I really believe that now we have in the economy side of our life, general managers of banks are the women. We have the greatest lawyers, women, greatest judges, women. It opened my mind and suddenly understood the importance of women in Israel of today. You have to at least 20% in the next Knesset with God's help.
How do we do it, though? Do you know that in the 50s, in the Congress, 2% were women. In Israel, there were 10% women. We flipped. Today, 35% women are talking in leadership in Western countries and democracies. And today, here, we're down to 15%. I mean, it is unprecedented. We were the most pioneering in women's rights, even in the Zionist movement, and we're down. How do you explain that that happened?
Because women were keeping the men to do the job because most of the time we were fighting. They don't remember that the best fighters, that really great fighters in the Independence Day in Gush Etzion were Jewish women who came from Poland. And I hope that in the next Knesset, more women would be part of the Knesset because people will understand if they would not appoint as candidates women, then people will not vote for them. I know that now many leaders of political movements in Israel try to find the best women to be part of the next government, and I hope it would be changed. For example, I was in the army, released as a colonel. Afterwards, I had my sons, all of them fighters in the Israeli army. And afterwards, I had my grandson. Now my granddaughter is part of the Israeli fighting soldiers. Some were in Lebanon, and she's doing a job exactly like every much better. They are much more responsible. They consider things much more
calculated.
Absolutely. Because of that, I really believe when I met the women that were treated by their husbands with such cruelty, I really opened my mind, and you helped me to open my mind. And since then, I was going to every shelter and encouraging women and say to them, you have to fight back.
Women leadership shows even statistics around the world. When it comes to conflict resolution, let's say there's a dilemma and there's a conflict to resolve. When women are there, it's 65% more likely that it will be resolved if they're women. I think Absolutely. They look at long-term things. I think there's less ego and they don't fight over the turf. There is ego, trust me. I mean, women also have ego, between each other. But the reality is that I think that we're a bit more calculated, multitaskers in many ways. Now, I want to ask you something interesting. You talked about the fifth tribe, about the diaspora. There are challenges since the beginning of this war. In the beginning, everyone was coming and hugging us, and everyone was supportive. So I want to talk about the fact that we know that they're paying a price in many ways for a lot of things that are happening here. We know that Zionism became the new Jew hatred. But do you think that we could have done better as a state looking at our fifth tribe? And I want to tell you why I'm saying that, because there was the massacre in Bondi, as you know. And the first thing everyone came up and said, well, they should make Aliyah. And the reality is, of course, the ultimate goal, but the reality is you have to sit with it for a minute. That people for 70 years sometimes could not come to Israel at the time when they settled in other countries, have a life, a history. Let's not be naive. It's not that easy to make the move. I think that came to sort of a transaction between us and them with a safe space. We are your agency here. If something wrong has happened, you make sure we sustain that, and that's a relationship. So how do you perceive it?
I said to you at the beginning of our conversation, blessing from Jerusalem, because I know that every Jew down deep in his heart, knows very well that he has at least two homes. We are helping you, and you are helping us.
Statistically today, we know that communities that speak up and fight and defy the anti-Semitism and connect more to Israel, it's their resilience inside. Because I think that in many ways, a lot of Jews, and you know, you're not a diaspora Jew, and you haven't had, parents that survived or exiled. And we know a lot of times you keep aside, it goes in the generation. You're afraid to talk, you don't like confrontation, and then it just crawls on you. And I say, when I go around the world, I say, speak up. First of all, speak up to your children, speak up to your neighbors, speak up to everyone you can. Don't let even the minimal of anti-Semitism to come to your door. And we know today that communities that fight are communities that will be less anti-Semitism. It's quite amazing. The more you push, it will go backwards, but you just have to be, even in the community, united. And it's a challenge because a young Jew says to himself, why do I need this? I mean, if I'm tied now with Israel, it was only religion for me. The reality, I say, we don't tell the story of the Holocaust to scare. We just say it as a blueprint. Sweetheart, you were born to this. This is the template. To say it's not going to happen, it is going to happen if you don't fight back. And to also the challenge to make them understand what is anti-Semitism. Because a lot of them think, oh, that's freedom of speech. I'm talking to Jewish youth. When they say from the river to the sea, that is genocidal comment. To understand what is, or even Israel has the right to defend itself. That's an anti-Semite comment. Of course we do. So it's such a gap because they haven't experienced it, and to show it's all coming back, in so much. So you either run away or you either fight it. And if you fight it, more chance you will survive in your community.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. And I accept every word that you have said. People have to know all over the world that there is a great difference between freedom of speech and incitement. They are inciting against Judaism, and it comes in waves. Unfortunately, in these days, the left have joined the right, the extreme left with the extreme right,
the woke, yeah,
together against Judaism. Everyone from his own ideas and with his own reasons. But this is something that, in order to stop it, we have to really to become a beacon to the whole world, showing that in the region of the Middle East, freedom of speech and democracy, that you can really hold your ideas and still be loyal to the idea of the need of the state of Israel, should be really kept by ourselves. And that is the job and the task of our government. And unfortunately, lately, people wondering in the world if we are holding democracy as we should, because to be a beacon of democracy, you have to be beaconcy without limitation. And that could be brought only by the whole Jewish people from all around the world. And because of that, the Jewish people all around the world are part of Israel, and they are the fifth tribe, and they are part of us.
You know what I feel? Before we end, I want to tell you my personal feeling. I feel that the diaspora is like a moral compass in many ways. They watch us. They had a set of idea of Judaism, and this is the testing of the values. Now you have a state. Now it all comes to testing, your morals, you talk about tikkun olam, and this is the test. It reflects on them. If we misbehave, it shows this religion actually cannot sustain, even a country cannot actually take it to the action, like the laboratory is not working, I always want to be in a situation where we don't disappoint. And because the love and the trust and the adoration, and you know that in every community you come, you're the president of the Jewish people, the president of Israel. You knew that when you traveled, you weren't the president of the state of Israel. You were the president of the Jewish people. No other country in the world. The Indian prime minister comes to Australia, the Indian community goes, out and congratulate him. Actually, they did not, because there were problems there at the time when he came. But it's interesting. Think about any diaspora in the world that goes and congratulates their president as theirs. It's something special.
When we are talking about tikkun olam, I pray to everyone that we will understand what is Tikkun Olam, and first of all, we will make the Tikkun Olam inside our community. You weren't born to be the president. I hope that you will be one of the day president, not only of WIZO, because the only man that we had in government through the last 78 years was Golda Meir. She was the real, what we call, the real man.
Very brave one.
Bless, חג שמח.
חג שמח. חג
And all the best
שמח.
to you.
תודה רבה.
All the best. תודה לך.
תודה רבה.
ביי ביי.
באמת, חג שמח למדינת ישראל.
They don't know that you are fifth generation of born in Israel. Beluim for us, but they brought really the idea of the Jewish state 150 years before.
There's a reason I'm a president of a Zionist organization. It's in my blood. Like you.